Hi everybody, welcome to Toadstool Tarot. My setup is a little awkward today because I'm doing little first impressions of the Byzantine Tarot, which comes in a rather large box. I usually just focus in on the cards, which are smaller. This box is a little unwieldy for my setup, and I don't edit my videos, so I can't do a hold up in front of my laptop and then edit it onto my phone. So I'm just showing you, this is the box. It's a substantial glossy box. It's from Red Feather, which is part of what was the name? See, I forgot now. It's part of another company, but anyway, it's called Red Feather. This is a box set, a book and cards by John Matthews, who's fairly well renowned as a tarot authority, and Cilla Conway, who many of us know from her other decks. I have the Intuitive Tarot, but she's also got a couple other popular ones, Divas of Creation and The Shimmering Veil, which are very popular with people. It's a lift-off box. There's a book inside. The book is pretty substantial. Sorry, I'm holding the camera with one hand until I get set up. It's got little black and white thumbnails. There's some history, some spreads. It's 160 pages. I won't go much into the book, but John Matthews wrote it in collaboration with Cilla Conway, so there's a goodly amount of information in here, and there's about 1.5 pages, 2 pages per card. The cards are set into a little vacuform plastic recess in the box, and I don't know if you can tell, but they're not, wasn't the best design. They're not flush with the edge of the recess. The cards are actually thicker than fit into the recess. So once you remove the plastic band, and if you don't keep the book in the box, the cards are going to go everywhere. So I'm just going to take them out now and show you. Put this aside. Now let's see if I can jimmy this around and use my overhead camera. I hope this works when I switch the camera around. I don't know if this is going to work or not. I may end up having to edit this anyway. If I'm starting from here, having to edit off the first portion because I had to change direction on the camera, let me say that this deck comes in a large 2-part box with a plastic insert that the deck doesn't fit in perfectly well. And the book is by John Matthews. The deck, the cards are illustrated by Cilla Conway. And it's a handsome deck. And we'll get to the cards now. My biggest bugaboo about this deck from Red Feather is they did a great job on the book and the images for the cards, but I hate the card stock. If I were on staff, I'd probably fire the person that picks the cardstock. Now, my understanding is there are two versions of this, an earlier edition that was glossy. These cards are more or less matte. There's a very slight sheen to them, but it's matte. And they're very thick cards. And they're also, I believe, let me see. Oh, everything's falling. They're also, now they're out of order. They're also oversized, I think. Yeah, they're taller and wider than a regular tarot card, standard tarot card. And now, of course, because I leaned over to get a sample card, everything has fallen out of order. All right, you'll have to bear with me. I'm not going to reorganize the cards. This is a mess of a walkthrough, but it is what it is. The cards, despite being matte, are slippery. So, I mean, they don't clump too badly, like a lot of matte cards do. This is the back design on the cards. And let's see, 8, 9, maybe I can get them back. Oh, here we go. Well, I think I'm missing one somewhere. We'll see what happens. Apologies, everybody. This is one of the messiest walkthroughs I've done yet. I should probably redo the whole thing. And I may. But anyway, here's the Holy Fool, 0. The majors in this deck have different designs on the borders. And I believe that each of the suits has a similar border with a different color to the border for each suit. I really like Cilla's paintings. This is the Holy Fool. They have a sort of a religious aspect without being real specific for the most part. Here we have a naked fool. I'm not sure why it's called the Holy Fool, but okay. The Magus. Sophia, which is the High Priestess. The Empress. I like a lot of these iconic staring faces that stare straight on, and they remind me, even though this is Byzantine art, they remind me a lot of, if anyone's familiar with the Egyptian Fayum portraits that were done on flatwood panels that covered Egyptian mummies inside the mummy cases. They had a portrait of the person who was wrapped in bandages, and they were placed over the face of the mummies. And they're beautiful, haunting images. And these are very much like those Fayum portraits. That's one of the things that drew me to this deck. It's the Empress and the Emperor. Justice is in the number 8 position. Oh, we jumped. See, I don't know where my 5 went. When everything shifted. They fell down in here somewhere. Well, it'll turn up. So Justice is in number 8. Sorry these are out of order now, but you'll get to see the images anyway. Number 9 is the Hermit. They really are beautiful paintings. And they're actually a little bit different than what I'm used to from Cilla Black. They're a little bit more academic in a way. And they seem very, very much inspired directly by Byzantine art. The wheel, I like this wheel with various people in positions working around the wheel, and the wheel as a burden on top of this figure here, and a royal figure sitting on top. People struggling to maintain position, clamber up the wheel. Fortitude at 11, which would be the strength card, usually at 8. It's an interesting depiction of strength or fortitude. The Hanged Man. Death. I love this death card. It's a deathly figure welcoming the soul escaping from the body of this dying person. It's really quite beautiful. That's one of the 2 cards in the deck that kind of won me over. Temperance. The faces are really quite striking in this deck. Diabolos, or the devil. Very interesting depiction of the devil. The Tower, which is interesting. It's a ladder leaning on the tower and a snake wound around the tower. Apparently a lot of these are based on stories of certain saints, and they will tell you more in the book. I'm not going to look them all up right now, but just in case you wondered what this was about, it will tell you in the book which saint that is, and or what the story is behind that card. Star. This is an obvious reference to the Nativity. Moon. Beautiful, mournful moon face. The Sun. Glorious Sun. This actually reminds me of sort of a Thoth tarot image. Judgment. This card just really won me over. I have a fascination for ladders anyway. I think we saw a ladder in an earlier card. And in this one, Judgment is depicted as people ascending a ladder towards heaven. And you have demons here from hell trying to pull people off the ladder into the underworld. And you've got angels up here, and you have apparently this sort of grouping of people waiting to be judged down here. I also like the fact that you have a brown hand. The hand of God apparently is a brown hand, you know, welcoming people who've reached the top of the ladder. Cosmos, which is the world card, or eon, or universe. Oh, here we are. We jump back to, this is the 5 that was misplaced before. That was the Hierophant, I guess. We call him the Patriarch here. 6, the Lovers, which is a little bit odd because, I mean, it's nice you have the snake around the tree of knowledge. You have a nude Adam and Eve, but they're very much depicted like naked Barbie and Ken dolls, where the genitals are rather nondescript little nubbins. Charioteer, wonderful charioteer, beautiful horses. Now we get into the coins suit. Two of coins. You've got this two elements here. Three of coins. These are all readable by the RWS system, but a little bit different than what we usually see here. The three of coins it seems to be relate to merchants or goods, or rather than coins. You've got three bundles on three ships, sort of merchant materials. Four of coins. Someone gathering and sorting their wealth into a box. Five of coins. Six of coins. They look like coins, but they're actually baskets filled with what looks like potatoes. And you've got, it looks like a child nibbling on a potato here. A couple people have potatoes there being given to the poor. Seven coins. Here you have 7 stones by the river. There's sort of that seven coins on the bush of growth usually, but here you have them holding the water in place that's feeding the flock, nourishing. 8 coins. You've got a blacksmith. 9. Beautiful bright red fruit on this tree. This one I thought was curious. 10 of coins. You've got the family, but it almost looks, I don't know if you can see in the image here, they almost look like they're blind, like blind leading the blind parable. And this baby almost seems to be floating on air. The father has it in hand, but the feet don't seem to touch the ground, which is very odd that you have this levitating baby. I'd love to ask Cilla about that particular image. It doesn't really explain in the book. I did check on it. Page of coins. Knight of coins. I think in all but one, we don't have our knights on horses, but here you do have a knight with armor and tools of defense or destruction. Weapons, I should say. Then we have the countess instead of a queen, and a count instead of the king. Beautiful ace of cups. 2 of cups. 3. 4. 5. I'm getting a little more comfortable with this cardstock, but initially it felt like cereal box cards, which I don't like. But handling it a bit more, it's getting a little easier. This one I first thought was sort of odd because it almost looks, this is a pond with reflection apparently of the sky. It's very blue and the sky here is very beige. It almost looked like this was a bridge over a hollow area or something. But with the playfulness of the usual children in 6 of Cups, you've got them playing a game on the lawn here. Seven of Cups, 7 beautiful cup designs. This reminds me of a couple other decks I have. I think there's a Renaissance deck, and I don't know, there are a couple from the Middle Ages that this reminds me of. So, and also a little bit of Cilla Black's Golden Tarot too. All of them have this sort of historic quality to them while still depicting the Rider-Waite system. 9 of Cups. You still have the 9 cups on this little banner here, even though you don't have cups in the image. Beautiful colors. The 10. We've got 10 cups and the rainbow in the family. Oh, they look a little bit more like they're huddled in a shelter rather than celebrating. Page of Cups. Knight with sword and shield. Countess. I don't usually like when they change the names on cards, but somehow Countess and Count I don't mind as much instead of the King and Queen. I have more trouble with, I think the Thoth deck where it has Prince, Princess, Queen, and Knight. That kind of throws me off. At least we still have Page, Knight, then Countess and Queen. I mean, Countess and Count. Then we have staves. This staff looks a little more like a sword, but it is a staff. 2 of staves, no staves in this one. Have to think about that. 3 of staves. This might remind you more of the 3 of coins or 3 of pentacles. So we have some different takes on the imagery in this deck. They're beautiful images though, and I think well worth the time to sit and contemplate them. 4 of staves under this gathering fruit on this fruit-bearing tree. 5. That's funny. This is usually a sort of a playful bickering or fight. Here it looks like we've got a meeting of 5 diplomats or 5 important figures having a meeting, so they may be debating or discussing or arguing. They all look very serious. 6 staves. Celebration. 7. Usually defense pose, but this one seems a little different. Sort of king of the hill. 8 staves. This had confused me. I had to look it up. Why is this what looks like an opponent countering the firing of these wands or staves? In the book, this is the teacher, the archery teacher, and these are the students. But I don't get that from this image, actually. It looks more confrontational to me than a teacher. I think he should be facing the other direction, maybe. That's another one to ask Cilla about. 9. 10. I like this 10. Not only is he burdened with the staves, he's in his bare feet in the snow, walking uphill, climbing up a mountain. Page. Knight. Unusual knight playing music instead of fighting. Countess with a feather and a book. Interesting. She's apparently written something in the book, but then cast the book or dropped it. Count also inscribing something. There's that creativity element throughout the wands there, passion. Oh, also I should have mentioned that the elemental correspondence has been switched in this deck. Swords are fire and wands are air, which may be problematic for some people. Apparently, it's more traditional prior to Rider-Waite or historical decks. I'm not sure. Two of Swords, 3. I like the 3, this forlorn figure in a cave, alone with serious, heartfelt thoughts. 4 of Swords, reclining. 5 of Swords. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Page. Knight. Looks like St. George and the Dragon. Countess. And Count. So if I can get past my problems with the card stock, I think I will enjoy working with this deck. It's also a very thick deck. Like I said, it won't fit evenly in the box. Some of the cards are going to slide off because it's too thick a deck. It's also an oversized deck, so these won't fit in a tin. It doesn't have its own separate tuck box for the cards. So storing the cards is problematic. I think I'm probably going to have to get a bag for it, for the cards, if I don't want to keep them in the box with the book. So that's the Byzantine Tarot. Sorry for all the technical issues, but I hope you got enough out of this, looking at these cards, to give you a sense of whether this is something that works for you or not. And thanks for sticking by, and we'll see you all again soon.